Hello friends, this is Cara-Renee with B.Reborn Art and Healing, coming to you with my Sunday's Art of Truth for February. I am working on a project for my granddaughter, one of my granddaughters who is turning 14. Actually, tomorrow is her birthday. Today is Wednesday, February the 12th. I don't know when this video is going to actually go up on the channel. You'll know because you'll be watching it, but I'm just going to get going on it so I can give it to her hopefully this weekend when we have her party. So I'm creating a mixed media piece on a 9x12 MDF board, and I bought this digital. It's a variety of these kinds of whimsical flowers and whimsical vases that I want to build my piece from. So that's what you see here. So I took the digitals, and I'll show you some of them here in a minute. And I just fussy cut out a bunch of flowers, and I'll be probably stenciling on some leaves and stuff, just with a stencil a little bit later on down the road here. But that's what we're going to be. That's going to be the focal image. I'm not exactly sure what I know what the message is of the piece. It's all about blooming. It's all about, last year I did one for her that was, it was called Becoming Her. And it was all about just kind of watching her blossom and grow and become the person that she is today in this really safe environment where she is adored and she is taken care of and she is allowed to be herself, which is a beautiful, beautiful thing. So, so this I know is about that because I picked the flowers, but she's a very, she's a private person, but yeah, she's a very, not flamboyant, but she's very animated and she's very full of life. And I just really want to send her a message that being exactly who she is and blooming wherever she is, in whatever group of people she is in, and that kind of thing. But you'll be able to watch or read the blog post on this that will, where I'll talk about the inspiration for how this project went together. So I've got a variety of paints. Actually not sure what I'm going to be using, but this was just a start because it's some of the colors that are in the flowers, but I want the flowers to stand up. So I'm going for a way more neutral kind of look, but we're a ways down the road before we get to paints. So let me just show you some of the digitals in case you're curious. These are some of them. They're a PNG file. So there's two of those. I don't think I cut any of the flowers out of that one. Oh, there's three of that one. Goodness gracious. And then there's this pretty one too. So I thought that was really lovely. And then I was going through some of my papers and I found this. I believe this is from Amity Bloom. And these just kind of inspired me. This saying she has here that says, be like a flower, gentle, quiet, and humble, happy to entice the pollen seekers, a bee who bumbles, or butterflies who flutter, fragile wings, flying so free. How I wish sometimes that a tiny creature I could be, with delicate wings spread. I travel without a sound, grateful to be alive, without setting foot on the ground. And so I was drawn to this. I'm not sure if I'm actually going to do anything with that, and then I also love this, that she has a love that blooms. And so those were just a couple of inspirational things that I saw just as I was looking for some other things. I was looking actually for some collage paper. So we're going to do a collage background on it, basically just covering that MDF board. So I just went through my drawer and I pulled a variety of things out. This is also from Amity, I believe it's Amity Bloom. And then this is a digital printed on some rice paper. I thought we would give that a try. And then I thought it would be fun to create some dark passages underneath the vase, below the vase, and then the board will be cut. So, not cut. Oh my goodness. It's after work. I know I'm always saying that, aren't I? It's going to be cut. In other words, it's going to look like there's a table here. So I'm going to erase those. My son-in-law's brother, a couple years ago, cut me sheets and sheets of MDF board. So what MDF board is, just this compressed board, and it's solid. But because I don't do as much mixed media, I haven't really gone through it as quickly as I anticipated. But I'm going to collage on some of this as usual. I'm going to tear some of this stuff down, and then it's the evening, so I'll be doing this video in pieces as well. Not that you guys will know that, because there will be no interruption for you other than a flipping of the page. So I'm going to get going on tearing these papers and getting them collaged on. So I have my Liquitex matte medium is my, I've got a bigger bottle. I think I'm not going to have enough, so I'll have to get the bigger bottle out. And then I thought I would try this rubber brush. It's nice to apply the matte medium because you can get a little bit more on and you don't have to be so kind of persnickety. This is a small brush. I'm not sure where all of my really bigger brushes are. They might be out in the kitchen. I don't know. But I'm going to do that. So I'm going to turn this way, though, because it's not going to matter which direction the papers are going, most of them. So I'm going to turn the music on and just let you watch this part so that we don't have too long of a video. I forgot to mention before I stop talking that this is going to be a voiceover. So as you can see right here, we are tearing down the papers that are going to be the collage background for this piece. And so I'm going to go ahead and turn the music on and let you watch the collage process here. Just coming to the end of the collaging here. As you can see, I spread out all of my papers as I usually do, and I created that piece that's on the left. The substrate is going the wrong direction currently, but that piece at the bottom is going to be our base, our shelf, so to speak, for our vase to sit on. And that paper that I just glued on there is from Amity Bloom. I had mentioned it in the introduction. I wanted to bring that in more as a story for the layers that are represented in this piece, and that is the beautiful soft pastel colors that are really a part of who my granddaughter is. And so this is about her story, and so that's a quick dry for you. But anyway, as I was creating this, I really didn't know like where I was going to go with the inspiration, but I was thinking so much again about like these pastels. I wanted to see if I could retain some of those in the final piece. You can't really see them, but I know the area in which they are in, so it worked out really, really well. So coming in with this stencil, this is one from Amazon. I will link it below. It came in a pack of 10, I believe, and it's a really, really good, strong stencil, so I would highly recommend it. So I'm just, again, taking advantage of that little section at the bottom to create kind of that, that separation on the MDF board to set the vase on. And so I'm just using my Liquitex modeling paste. This is not the flexible modeling paste. I had to replace it. And I just got this one because it was cheaper. And it's really not going to be any different at all. I'll let you guys know what I think. But I've used all kinds of Liquitex products, including their modeling paste line. So there you go. Isn't that absolutely gorgeous? I thought it was perfect for the flowers that are, the whimsical flowers that are going to be a part of the arrangement. And it turned out, again, really good. It's always interesting doing a voiceover because I already know what has happened, but you guys haven't. So, I mean, you can see by the pictures, obviously. But I love the kind of it's got a whimsical look as well, the stenciling that we just did. So, and just trying out my vase, you're going to see me do this several times. To bring that back over to kind of get my inspiration, because at this point I really didn't know how I was going to do that. I didn't know how I was going to connect the flowers or if I was going to do stems or anything like that. But so that's why you'll see me many times bringing that back into view to evaluate what I'm doing next. So this is a stencil from Sean Petit. It's got, I think, 4 different kinds of fonts on it, and I just loved this idea of putting different fonts around the spread because it made me think about all the different voices and opinions and styles and personalities and stuff that are around us. And when I think about this being obviously for my granddaughter, I think about, the struggle as a young person to kind of learn how to listen to your own voice, how to evaluate the opinions of other people, but still know what you believe and what you want and what you think. And so there's a lot of competing voices and opinion in our world, and I think it's a valuable thing for young people to know, how to stand their ground and stand on their own opinion and their own convictions about things. And she's a very, very strong girl, so it's really cool to see her growing up to be such a just such a strong person. She knows who she is, and she knew who she was last year. So this is where I'm actually talking, or my hands are talking in real time about the different ways that script is going, not only the direction, but the different kind of script. So that on the right hand side is where the paper hung over. It did not matter in the end because that paper gets so wet. I was able to just kind of wrap it around, and then I painted over it when I did my border. So again, just kind of showcasing the position of that and trying to get a picture in my head about what I wanted that top section to look like. So I'm going to be coming in with some, I believe it's a golden fluid acrylic, what was that? Nicolazo yellow, and it's gonna be stark, and I apologize for my arm, guys. It's gonna be stark. It's a very bright, very vivid but translucent color, and I just wanted to create some base color here. I didn't want all that white, and I love this choice. I do end up bringing it down into the bottom as well, but you'll see that as we continue to move through the process, and just using a wet wipe there to dab it up here and there. As you can see, I'm trying to pull up a little bit of paint on those pastel like paint chip pieces, and they do again show a little bit. So there you have another dry and a close up, and there's the pastels. And I think more than anything, as I mentioned in all of my mixed media pieces, the key for me is that I know what's in my layers, and I know why I chose them. And that's the beauty of the art and the mixed media layering process, is you get to decide what you're putting underneath and what it means to you. And I always know what I've put, and there's a reason why I pick the papers that I pick. And I loved the ones that I chose because we got a lot of dark passages up in the top section that show up in the final piece, which I really was happy with. So this is the muted pink from Liquitex. This is the heavy body paint that I've used a couple of times most recently, and I'm just painting there a watered down mixture on the bottom section because again, I want that separation between the top and the bottom. And typically when you do this, you don't want to divide your substrate in half, but rather in thirds. So if you were doing an ocean, a shoreline, and sky, you would divided into thirds, but in this case it's just basically a table or a windowsill or whatever, however you want to see it. So that's why I'm doing that. And I love how this pink looked. You're going to see me make some changes to it because that is also the nature of the mixed media process, is for every layer that you do, you might get inspiration to go in a different direction, to add a different color, to remove some paint, etc. So there, I was just giving that another quick dry so that we can move on. And so now I'm going to come in. This is another thing that I do often. I didn't want that yellow to be so yellow. Now we're still going to be able to see the yellow, but it's going to be pushed back and it's going to be grungied up with the raw umber fluid acrylic. So here I am trying to get and I pour out way too much, you guys. It's ridiculous. I wasted so much of that paint. My bottle was plugged up, so I have fixed that now after the fact. But so this is a glaze, and what a glaze does, it allows you to paint on this really scary brown vintage color and wipe it up, and you can control where you leave it and where you take it off. So as you can see, as I'm moving across the top there, I am rubbing in parts and just dabbing in parts. In the parts I'm dabbing in is where I want to leave more of that grungy color, and then the parts that I wiped is where I wanted to really get back some of that color that was original, like that top little rectangle that was the pink, and then a little bit of the pastel greens that were there by my left hand. And then on the bottom as well, just coming in with a little bit more because I got some funny lines. I must have left it on there a little bit too long there, that line right above the separation of the substrate. So, but that's okay. It turned out really good. And again, much of that doesn't show because of the layers that are going to go on top. But there is a postage stamp. I don't know if you can see that right there. And that also was a part of the story because I really believe that our Kenzie girl is going to go places. She is going to rock the world. She is just an amazing person, a loving person, and a very, very intelligent. And so I have very high hopes and big dreams for her. And I do apologize for the color shift, the lighting shift. I turned the camera on the next day and it was snowing out all morning, and so the light coming in was very, very bright, and I probably should have closed the shade, but I didn't, so I hope that it's not too bothersome to you. But here I am using a little bit of alcohol, just rubbing alcohol on a paper towel, and because I want to pull off some of the color on the top layer here, and that's going to allow us to do some other cool things a little bit later on. So yeah, and then you see how that yellow at the top is not quite as bright and neon-y as it was before we did the glaze. So that's another benefit of the glaze process. So this is a charcoal pastel that I love to use to do shading and things. So I'm using it here to accentuate that separation on the MDF board. And I also do use it at the end to go around the entire piece to kind of frame it out. I really like that look. And just so I was searching for my wipes because before I recorded this today, well, I'm doing the voiceover on the same day I completed the project. So I moved a bunch of stuff, and so my wipes are now off to the left instead of to the right. So I got a little bit lost. But this is golden artist acrylic in manganese blue. It's a really, really transparent blue. You can see that by those. You see the black marks on the top of the tube where you can see a lot of the black. That is showing you how transparent that color is. And so I'm going to use this manganese blue to paint the petals on the flower that's stenciled on the bottom portion of the piece. So I'm going to go ahead and let you watch this because it does take me a little bit of time, and so I'm going to just turn the music on for you and let you watch. I kind of forgot my lostness at this point. I don't even recall what I was trying to do there or why I didn't cut that out, but I was just looking for another paint. So I'm going to come in again with the Nicolazo yellow and do some more work. I believe I'm coming in, oh yeah, over the bottom section, that bottom quarter of the, not quarter, third, I guess, of the MDF board, and I'm going to apply the Nicolazo yellow over that entire area. I start by doing the flowers. I think I think I do go over it with the yellow because I really liked that we had that really deep pink color behind it, but then the Nicolazo yellow is very transparent, and so we can see colors underneath it as well, as it's bringing that yellow from the top into the bottom. But in the final product, it is not the main color. The red or the muted pink is the main color in the bottom section, as well as some other accents that I did. So just using a brush there to come up under that line to bring in that Nicolazo yellow as well. That is a golden fluid acrylic. But I really loved how the whole project turned out. I do have to tell you that my word for the year, as I mentioned, is exploration. And so the goal of that is to step out of my box in my mixed media world as well and try things that I don't normally try. And this is something that I don't normally do. So I usually have my watch on when I'm doing a voiceover. When I know I'm going to do a voiceover, I just tap my wrist because that's my signal as well that I'm got a break there in the video that I can cut out. So I know it's a little bit silly, but anyway, what was I saying about that? I don't know what I was saying. I completely lost myself, but I'm sure it'll come back. So now, so this step didn't prove to be necessary, and I'll tell you why before we get there. So here I'm just laying the vase out. I'm just again showcasing those flowers to see what kind of arrangement I can create and where I might want some stems. Now in the end I used every flower other than one that I had cut out. One of them got set by a wet wipe, and so it got too messed up to use. So, and I was looking around at a different point in the video for those extra few papers, but again I tidied up again in the studio, and I put them again in another safe, organized space that I don't know where it is. So so that was the muted green that I'm pulling out there. That's the Liquitex heavy body paint, and it did not end up being the right choice, and so you're going to watch as I try to correct that. I'm going to paint on some stems with a little bit of stem coming off of a couple of them, but it was way too dark. It looked really black and I did not care for it. I do keep playing along here for a bit, and then I'm going to come in with a wipe and wipe that off. I'm not able to get all of it off because obviously it's acrylic paint, so you can wipe it up a little bit and lighten it, which is what ended up happening, but you can't completely remove it. And if I were to come in with the alcohol like I did on the bottom section, just to get that top layer, I would have lost a lot of my background because it would have pulled those background colors up as well. So I did not want to play around with that. So I'm going to reach for some other choices here. I think I grabbed the sap green hue as well as a yellow ochre to try to lighten those lines up, but they were just too dark. So I'm going to be switching gears here in a moment to wipe that up and try something completely different. So here, yeah, just trying the yellow ochre. This is another one that got plugged up. This one, for some reason, this color, I think it's because it's got iron in it. It's an iron color. It dries up in the cap really fast. So now, if I had to make this work, I probably could have with the yellow ochre to lighten that up, but it turns out that I did not really need to do that because very few of these stems show after I put all the flowers on. So it was not necessary. So here I'm going to move that vase and try to wipe some of that. So you can see I am wiping up, but I'm also losing a little bit of that raw umber glaze grungy look that we had there, but it doesn't matter because that's all going to be covered over. So I wasn't too concerned about losing that, a little bit of that layer. So again, trying with the sap green hue, and this is what how I ended up leaving it. Because I felt like, again, this was, exploration. I didn't know how to make this work. I was just playing and hoping that I could figure it out, and I did. So we're going to go back to putting the vase on and then starting just to slap some of those flowers down, and you'll see that we don't end up even needing to see very many of those stems because there's so many flowers. I really wanted it to be a full bouquet of flowers, again, to represent our beautiful Kenzie girl, because she is definitely a bouquet of flowers, and she is a joy. She's feisty. I know that at home she's not always a joy, but she is. She's growing up to be a beautiful, beautiful young woman. So I'm going to go ahead and turn the music on here, because what I'm going to basically be doing here is inking all of these flowers up, and then I'm adhering them with my Liquitex matte gel. And the reason why I'm using the matte gel is because I've got a textured surface underneath where these the vase and flowers are going to go, and I want them to stick well. So here comes the music. So as we move a little bit farther through this process, I wanted to explain a step that I didn't talk through, which is before I started putting the flowers on, I did give a coat of matte medium to the vase because I didn't know if I was going to have another layer, if I was going to be affecting that. So a really important element when you're doing mixed media is that you want to make sure that you're sealing a previous layer if you don't want it to be moved or affected or destroyed or anything else. So that's why I did that. So you'll see that I'm going to do that also with the flowers once I get them all glued on. So my goal here is that because I did that flower at the bottom in that manganese blue and I grunged it up a little bit, I wanted the blue in the project to be the primary color. I wanted it to be the color we were pulling out rather. And so I loved that we had several choices for blue flowers, and I just am spreading the arrangement out so that the colors are broken up and there's a lot of interest in it. I liked that there was some kinds of whimsical flowers, some that looked a little bit more watercolor-ish, and so there was a lot of variety, and I think I would definitely do this again because it was a lot of fun, and I found myself really in real time. I was actually moving very, very slow. I was really enjoying the flow of the process, and I didn't feel anxious or concerned about what I was going to be doing next. I just went with what was happening, and it was really, really beautiful. It definitely fulfilled an opportunity for me to sit with exploration and really think outside of my box and do something a little bit different. So I just have that pink flower and then that one off to the left. I didn't want to use it because it's one that's like really foreshadowed, and I didn't know if it would really fit at the top, but there's that little kind of hole at the top left that I felt like it needed something, but I literally used all the flowers that I cut out, so I didn't, and I couldn't find the prints. I know they're here, I'm always organizing, and so then I put things in places and I'm like, oh my goodness, where did I put it? So I did buy, I got this 4-drawer cart at IKEA yesterday, and it's now replaced a smaller cart that was next to my desk, and it has huge amounts of storage. And so yeah, I really did some organizing as well, so I'm in the zone. Today is Thursday the 13th. Actually, this is my granddaughter's birthday today. So this is where I'm going to go in with the matte medium over the flowers as well. So it is a snow day for us. The school did end up, all the schools closed because we're going to have, it snowed here for about 5 hours, and then it's now stopped, but we're supposed to get some really slick conditions and freezing rain potentially. So I am at home. My husband showed up home early, which was really surprising. Not surprising in the bad way, but I didn't expect it. So all of a sudden I hear the door open. I'm like, oh, he's home. So that was pretty cool for him. So he's in the other room working on his project, remodeling his man cave. So but anyway, there I'm just finishing off with that matte medium layer on the flowers and then a quick dry. So here I'm using a pastel pencil. I believe it's a brown color. I don't have it in front of me. I typically work in black, and I did come in with a black charcoal pencil off camera to highlight some of the areas a little bit more. But this is basically, this step allows those elements to pop off the page, to look more three-dimensional, and they really, really did. So I'm really pleased with how this turned out. I felt like the project was very different than what I normally do. The style that I do, I didn't put a bunch of texture on it. There's just that really minimalistic texture on the upper portion and then the texture at the bottom, but it made working with the flowers really easy because I didn't have to worry about there being a ton of texture that I was having to kind of fight against to finish up the project. So let's see, just finishing up that outlining, and I'm trying to remember what is next. So I'm just gonna wait it out here with you and we'll find out together. It's a lot of outlining, but it's well worth it, and especially around that vase. So I really went dark on that. I did come in with the black as well around that vase edges, because it makes that pop off of the page as well. This would have looked a lot more three-dimensional if I created some kind of shadow or something as well, but I wasn't looking for that. I was looking for just some fun, whimsical, beautiful piece for her birthday. So it will be done and ready for her on Sunday when we do her birthday party. So coming in again with that muted pink, because I felt like I wanted to bring out some of the pink, bring some of the pink down into the bottom again. And so I'm going to be going over the flowers. I start with the brush, and I believe that I end up changing to my finger because it was just easier, and I didn't really want it to be painted solid. I just wanted the hint of that muted pink, which is basically a maroon color. And so you're going to see I'm just going to go in, you know, kind of hard and heavy with the with my finger, but I'm going to come back in with a wipe and wipe some of that off so I can control the amount that's left. So there you can see on that flower on the left, it's a lot less than what was there before. And then I do come in with some, I'm going to wipe some of this up again, guys, because I didn't want it, I want it to be very separated from the top, which you can see. I've mentioned often in my mixed media life, I really struggle with contrast. It's just a constant struggle. And so I really feel like I accomplished that contrast in this piece, because we've got a lot of lighter tones and brighter tones on the top, and then we've got the darker tones on the bottom. So I felt like it worked out pretty well, even though we've got a spattering of dark up in the top. So this muted pink really allowed me to kind of grunge up that blue, because it's manganese blue is a very bright blue, although we've got that one flower off to the left that's very, very, very light blue. I don't know if I come in and tone that down at all. I guess we'll see together. So there's another kind of indescript flower there to the right that I'm doing the same thing with the pink. And then there's some leaves. They're almost like a fern leaf. And I'm just coming in again with that green. This is the muted green, that really dark, almost a black color. And I'm going to rub it out so it's not too vibrant. And then again on the other side, I think there's 3 or 4 of them on that section of the MDF board. So I'm just doing the same with all of those. And then I always have to do a little bit of my iridescent gold fine. This is the artist acrylic one. I have it in a fluid acrylic as well, but I thought I would go ahead and start using this as well. It's not a lot different, it's just not as fluid. And I didn't want to overdo it, because I tend to do that. I didn't want it to look gold and shiny. It's part of the message again, you know. I believe that, well, for starters, I believe that we are all exquisite. We are all made in God's image. We are all beautiful human beings, and gold always reminds me of royalty. It reminds me of people that are rich, not rich in money, but rich in character and rich in a relationship, rich in family, rich in strength, and all of those beautiful things that are so important to being on this planet and contending with this world. So, and Kenzie is definitely iridescent. She's very bright. She's very magical, and so I wanted to make sure that I had some of that represented here as well. So just another quick drive there. And I'm trying to remember, even though it was not very long ago that I did this, what I am doing next. Oh, the blue. So now I mentioned earlier that I wanted the manganese blue to be the pop of color. And so I'm just taking my finger and going all around the edges, just lightly skipping, not a solid line, just skipping around the entire MDF board here, just to again pull out and accentuate that blue. I don't know why I chose the blue. It just spoke to me. I'm not sure I have no idea why. Blue is not necessarily a color I lean towards, especially in mixed media. And I hope that she'll like it. She puts them all on her wall. I've made them for her for several years now. I don't even know how many I've made. Yeah, so if you want to check out the inspiration for this, you can head on over to the blog and read the blog post. Thank you guys so much. Oh, I'm going to go around this with the black pastel. Take care. Bye-bye.